I'm Jenny, and I'm going to talk to you about how to write a recount. A recount is a retelling, so it's a true story about somewhere that you've been or something that you've done. Try and choose a topic where you had lots to think about. Maybe it was something fantastic that happened, or something that was a real disaster and something bad happened. It might be something that you did that was really embarrassing. Once you start your writing, it has to be in past tense. A recount isn't happening now, but it happened yesterday or before that, so everything needs to be written in the past tense. A recount has to be sequenced. You start with your introduction, which is the who, when, where, what, why, and each of your ideas has to be put in time order. You have to include lots of thoughts and feelings to make your recount more interesting for the reader. So as you sequence each main idea, include your thoughts and feelings and adding extra details as you go. We're going to look at a recount now written by a boy about his game of cricket. Before he started writing his story, he did his planning. He started with the introduction. So on the planning sheet here, he's got the headings where, when, who, what, why. And beside those words, he just wrote his brainstorming ideas on what the main points were. So where was behind our house. When, in the holidays. Who, Katie, Alex and I. What, we're playing cricket. And why, it was for fun, but also he wanted to have some batting practice. What he did then was he used those key ideas in his introduction and he turned it into his first paragraph. His title was Cricket, and this is what he wrote. It started out such a great day. Katie, Alex and I were playing cricket behind our house. I love batting. Mum told us not to hit the ball hard, but I needed to practice my batting as when school goes back after the holidays, I want to get into the school cricket team. What he did next was he went through and he sequenced the main things that happened. First of all, he wrote, I hit the ball. Next was I went next door. I went inside his house, I picked up the glass, and for the conclusion he said that he walked home. Now if he had just written a recount and just written these ideas down, it would be dreadfully boring for the reader. So what he's got to do to make it more interesting is to add his thoughts and feelings. For his paragraph, I hit the ball, he wrote, excited, the ball went high, he froze and he felt sick. He then turned those key ideas into his first paragraph of his recount. This is what he wrote. Katie threw the ball to me. She can't throw very well, so I waited and hit the ball as hard as I could. The ball went high. I felt excited. I'd never hit the ball so high. Down, down it came, then smash. The glass made such a loud noise as it hit the concrete. Mum came racing outside, shouting and pointing at me and then to the house next door. I froze, I felt sick. Next, I went next door. So what he did to add extra details, he said that he was scared, he wanted to run away, and there was a huge scary man. He used those ideas to turn it into his second paragraph, and this is what he wrote. My stomach dropped and I was shaking as I walked up the path of our neighbour's house. I tapped quietly on the door. My heart was thumping. Mum made me go, but I wanted to run away. Maybe no one was home, I thought to myself, and I started to walk backwards. Suddenly the door opened and there stood a huge man. He had black curly hair and he looked angry. Yes, what is it? He asked. My knees were knocking and I was too scared to talk. He told me to hurry up and tell him what I wanted. Well, we were playing cricket in my backyard and I hit a six and it went over your fence, I said. I think it kind of broke your window. The next thing that happened was he went inside the man's house and his thoughts were it was dark and musty. He saw the ball and he knew he was in trouble. This is what he wrote. He looked at me and he said nothing. I put my head down and I told him I was sorry. He told me to go into his house and we would go and have a look. That's when I felt really scared. I didn't want to go inside, but he was waiting for me. His house was big and dark and it smelled musty. We went into a room with lots of windows, and that's where I saw it. My cricket ball was on his floor, and there was glass everywhere. I knew I was in trouble. The last part of his story is about him picking up the glass. He said that the man smiled, but he helped him. So this is what he wrote. "Wow, that was a good hit," he said. He picked up my ball and he smiled at me. I didn't know why he was smiling at me. He bent over to pick up some glass, so I helped too. He wasn't angry now. He said he was pleased that I'd come to tell him what had happened. He told me how he had done the same thing when he was young. The final part of a recount is your conclusion. The conclusion is about him walking home, and as he was walking home he felt relieved, and he decided that actually he was a nice man. So this is the conclusion that he wrote. "As I walked back home, I felt relieved. It wasn't so bad after all, and he wasn't a scary old man like everyone said." So when you decide what topic you're going to use to write your recount, get your planning sheet and put your key ideas down. Make sure they're sequenced. Add your thoughts and extra details and use each of those to form the paragraphs of your recount.